I'm going to start the record button. We got Mark, we got Mary, we got Katie. I'm going to mute everybody for a second here, and we're all good to go. Let's get started. We're going to start off by reviewing songs that were posted on Tuesday for the reminder of office hours that happened on Wednesday. And we're going to start off looking at those songs, and then we're going to go to any songs that were posted yesterday on the reminder for today. And I believe they are in order. Okay, so we're going to start with Drew Barbs, and we're going to do this like we normally do. I'm going to just listen to it, check it out, and I'm going to tell you my feedback. If you are on the call and I just reviewed your song, please unmute yourself and tell me a little bit about it, okay? So the first one is called Trunk Up. Trunk Up. Is that right? Oh, that's an LLC. You're My Home is the name of it.
No, Zion, You Are My Home. Oh, You Are My Home. Never mind. Sorry, I thought you were getting confused and playing a different one.
Oh, okay. This is called You're My Home.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Drew Barbs. All right. Let me know if you can hear this.
And sound where comfort's found in walls I built here with you. I've been gone for way too long. I've been gone for way too long. Feeling that you give is my home. Oh, eh, oh, and you are always mine. Yeah. Catching fireflies on. I've been gone for way too long, way too long. The feeling that you give is my home. Oh, eh, oh, and you are always mine.
Very nice. Drew Barbs, are you on here? I don't think you are. Very cool. I like this. I think that it's got a very Mumford & Sons type vibe to it. I love bluegrass. I love folk music. I love songs that are very home, sort of American homespun. I guess it's not limited to America. All these instruments come from Europe originally anyway. But I just love this type of vibe. I think this could be done better. First and foremost, it sounds like this is kind of a low quality. I don't know if I'm just listening to an MP3 or the WAV file. It's probably the MP3 that it's streaming. But it sounds very tinny. The whole thing doesn't sound warm. And if you're going to talk about home, you really want to think about the mix being a little bit more warm. So that's a mixing issue. That's the producer and mixer need to put their heads together and make this sound a little warmer. When you have a lot of instruments that it sounded like almost an accordion in the background, and you've got a banjo, you've got things that have a lot of brassiness and tinniness to it. You need to be careful with those frequencies because they build up really fast. Plus the vocals feel like they're just EQ'd into a certain bandwidth that's very tinny. They're not warm. The other thing is you've got to make this song more energetic. it sounds a little like it's the performers. If this was on stage, it sounds like they're a little bored with the song. And you've got a beautiful melody here. I love that phrase, I've been gone for way too long. That is such a cool hook that goes through over and over again. I love, that's the hook of the song, that pre-chorus, in my opinion. The chorus is good too, but it has a lot of stops in it. Da, 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 or whatever. Those stops kind of break the energy. And you could fly with that. I've been gone for way too long. That is your hook of the song, in my opinion. I think you have a great song here, a really great song here. I just think it's not done as well as it could be. It needs some, I'm going to use the word velocity. So velocity is not necessarily volume, but it's when your instruments sound like they're being played hard, okay? So if I'm playing the guitar and I'm going dum jinga dum jinga dum jinga, you want it to sound like dum jinga dum jinga dum jinga dum jinga. I've been gone for way too long. You want that thing to just launch. You want energy in the song, and it doesn't sound like the energy's there. And those kicks, those that are on the sort of sounds like a stomp. Sounds like one person stomping. You need a group of people stomping. Look at the program called Smack. It's cheap, easy program. It's got a lot of foot stomps and hand claps. And I would study Mumford & Sons, Lumineers, study that kind of stuff to see the type of instrumentation they're using that give things velocity. Again, velocity isn't volume. Making something loud doesn't make it actually sound like you're hitting it hard. You can take a guitar that's played very softly and crank the volume and make it real loud in your mix, but it doesn't have the same feel as somebody playing the guitar hard. That velocity, the sound of somebody playing with energy, can be turned down in the mix, but it gives the entire song energy. So all the instrumentation in this needs to be played with energy, not throughout the entire thing, but on those parts that build, because it doesn't feel like it's building. It feels very flat the entire time. So that's my take on this. I think it needs a better mix. I would go in and actually change the instrumentation to make it sound, have a lot more energy. And I would focus on that, I've been gone for way too long, instead of that part on the chorus. In the chorus, I think you say, it feels like, or I like the, what is it? Hold on a second.
I'm betting this goes under. Always mine. Is my whole way too long?
Or that foot stomp. It needs to be bah, bah, bah. It doesn't have to be loud, just has to have energy. I like the fact that you've had this great pre-chorus, or if you want to call that the chorus, and you're going into this, the feeling that you give is my home. That is worded really awkwardly. I would look at different phrasing there, like I just feel so alive, or I'm feeling like it's like a, I don't know, a warm blanket, or it's something else besides the feeling that you give is my home. That's an awkward phrasing. That's not how you would say that. So that's as far as phrasing, that's the one part that jumped out to me, like that feels awkward right there. Everything else as far as the writing sounded really cool. I think this is a great song. That's my take. Anybody want to say anything on this before I move on? Cool. Mark Stone, let's go to yours. Start a revolution. All right, Start a Revolution. Let's play it.
You got the problem, we got the solution. Rise up and start a revolution.
Didn't we just review the song, Mark? Last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's got like some other stuff that happened with it since it was last reviewed, and I don't remember Yeah, and if you have other things you want to get to,
yeah, let's do that, and then if we have time, we'll come back to this.
Yeah, totally.
All right, cool. Thanks for being flexible. All right, this is going to be "I Will Be Your Home." This is Katie.
Can't hear anything.
You don't have to hide or feel afraid when everything.
You guys can't hear it? Oh, Mark says he can hear it. Katie, Matt, Ron, can you guys hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's
Matt,
in and out. It's in and out for me.
That's so strange. I made it public because Matt said he couldn't
I
get
hear
it on
it.
the thing. Okay, and this is also a co-write with Nita, by the way. So this is her.
Okay, cool.
Just wanted to say that.
If you guys want to, I'll just post the link here, and you can listen to it on your end while I'm listening to it on here. And then if it's sounding weird coming through Zoom, I'm going to start it over.
You know. You don't have to hide or feel afraid when everything you've known has gone away. I can see your smile behind the tears. I can see your strength behind the fear. And I will be your home. It's where the heart is. It's in the moments. It's where the love grows. And I will be your home. We were both once here, not long ago. Let's talk of all our dreams, fill them with hope, and lift each other up through the storm. When you're all alone, I will be your home. It's where the heart is. It's in the moment. It's where the love grows. And I will be your home. It's where the joy is and the laughter. It's where love grows. And I will be your home. Leave the light on. Leave the light on. Leave the light on. Oh, we're coming home. Leave the light on. Leave the light on. Leave the light on. Oh, we're coming home. Leave the light on. Leave the light on. Leave the light on. Oh, we're coming home. And I will be your home. It's where the heart is. It's in the moments. It's where the love grows. And I will be your home. It's where the joy is and the laughter. It's where the love grows. And I will be your home. Leave the light on. It's where the heart is. Leave the light on. It's in the moment. Leave the light on. It's where the love grows. Leave the light on. And I will be your home. Leave the light on. It's where the joy is. Leave the light on. And the laughter. It's where love grows. And I will be your home.
That's some good writing right there. Katie, tell us about the song.
Thank you, Zion. So this is a co-write with Nita Chawla. We sat down and wrote this together for our home song. And then we just got it produced. So thank you. Yay.
Who produced it?
It's this guy named Costa Lois. And he's He's a really good kind of big. He works with some big names and stuff like that, and thankfully, okay. So what I did was when I submitted the demo, I worked really hard on the demo, but it was still a demo, and then I sent it to you guys, and because I had an email that said CTM liked the song and felt it was syncable, then I could show him and say, you want to work on this, even though you have lots of credits and clout and I don't have any. And so I got him to say yes.
Dude,
So,
you're awesome.
yeah. So then he did it to it. I was like, anyway.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
So is this a mix? Where is this in the stage?
This is pretty much done. I mean, he mixed and mastered it. There was a few things that we went back and forth with on the mix. And then I think it's good in this mix. And then mastered, first it was a little too bright, and then he warmed it up a bit. So I feel like it's good, but Nita might have something else to say too, and I'm not sure what you have to say. So.
Okay. First and foremost, before I forget, got to get rid of this font. Papyrus font.
Yeah. I
Big,
just threw that together at the last minute, so I have
know.
something.
I want to show you guys something.
Okay.
I'm not kidding you. When you use a font that everybody knows, this has been around since 98 or something. And it was cool when it first came out, but literally there's a lot of jokes about that, and it makes your song look like you're not taking it seriously.
Okay. Thank you.
So get rid of it. If you're just going to have, if you don't have time for a picture or whatever, that's fine. It doesn't need to have quotes on it, just the name of the song. Go to fonts. Yeah, that's all right. Fontspace.com. You can download thousands of unique, brand new fonts for free. Totally free.
Awesome.
Yeah, so find one that you think works with that, and just heads up for everybody. You can't use the font like that. Okay, number 2. The writing is phenomenal on this. I'm so amazed by this song. It's beautiful. It feels like it flows. It feels like it's written by a really good songwriter, which you are. This is great. This is a great song. The production. There's some elements in the production I think could be better. However, I think it's like 85% there. I think it's really good. The drums that he used is so simple, and yet it has a texture that feels very natural and it's inviting. So whatever he did with the drums, I love. There'd be some people that say, hey, you could explode into a bigger part. You could. I don't think it really needs it though. I think this whole song just kind of, I found as soon as the drums came in, the whole song felt more engaging. And so you could debate whether or not to bring those in earlier, like in the first verse. Just start off with that simple drum pattern, and then maybe in the second verse build that pattern a little bit more, because those drums make the soul song sound more mature. The strings are not good. There's some kind of fake strings in the background. I would take those out and either you can use just an organ, like a Hammond organ or a Rhodes or a B3 or something that's just like a nice subtle, it doesn't have to be complicated, but if you want that pad feel, just don't use it with fake strings. If you can't, what's that?
Sorry, did you mean for that ambient high note or for like the cello violin sounds?
I'm hearing like a fake ambient high note thing.
Yeah, okay. So you just mean that ambient high note. Okay.
Yeah, let me see real quick here.
I will be your home. It's where the heart is. It's in the
Right there, like na na na. Is that that's what I'm talking about?
Okay.
That sounds like a pad, like an 80s pad trying to be strings. It doesn't sound, that's going to turn people off. I promise you that'll turn people off. And this song doesn't even need that. But if you want to put some kind of pad or something in there, use something that's like a real sounding instrument. Like, again, like organs are great because they kind of fit the pad vibe, and you can get away with using a really good like Hammond organ patch on a keyboard, and it'll sound really very close to the real thing. And it doesn't turn you off listening to it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And you can replace that really easy by just or something just in there without using fake strings.
Is it the progression too, or
No,
like the
no,
okay?
it's
So I
fine.
can just even replace the sound.
Yeah, it's just the sound itself is just like, oh, this song deserves better than that. You know what I mean? I also felt like the piano.
Moment.
Hold on, let me just check a couple things.
Feel afraid when everything you've known has gone away. I can see your smile behind the tears. I can see your strength behind the fear. And I will be your home. It's where the heart.
Yeah, you got that note comes in right there at the chorus. That's where you don't want that.
I will be your home.
I would also almost suggest changing, right? Like I'm expecting the instrumentation to change a little bit right there, and it really kind of doesn't. It's like the same as the verse as far as just that piano. It's a beautiful piano, by the way, but just it needs something else right there. Either change the way the piano sounds or add a layer of something in there. It just feels like, I thought this the first time I heard it too, like I want something, give me something.
And I will be your
Like
home.
another.
It's where the heart is. It's in the moment.
Maybe put just a bass right there, just hold the bass note, you know? Just add something, just real easy, really, it just needs to add or maybe just a guitar now coming in right there. Just something, because it's kind of begging for it, that's all.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I think, we were trying to go simple because there's so many complicated voice parts, so we were trying to go simpler with the amount of instruments, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just, I'm not saying it needs to be complicated anyway, just if you were on a stage and you were performing this, what would naturally be the thing to do? Instruments would want to start layering in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Without it complicating it. You don't want to complicate it. Also, the home, because that's very staccato, I would actually pull that back in volume a little bit. Just make it real subtle until it gets further into the song, because it's a little bit jarring.
Okay, yeah, it was so far back in the original mix that you couldn't hear what it was saying, and it just sounded like a production element and didn't feel like another part, like it was calling together a community or anything like that. So,
well, maybe just
I'm waking up my neighbors.
It just feels a little jarring. So, you can find a solution to correct that by maybe putting some effects on it, making it a little more reverby, but maybe just dipping it down a couple dBs in volume, just to make it just a little subtler, because you're really in this gentle part. You don't want home, you know. You want it to be, I mean, it's not that, I'm exaggerating, of course.
Yeah.
But everything I'm telling you are just simple, tiny little areas to make it better. I think it's already amazing. I'm just saying, if you want to make it a little bit better, and if you're in that final stage of honing it in, that would be awesome to do, you know, especially take out that fake strings.
Okay, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Are you singing this, or is?
So Nita, who just popped on right now, she's singing lead, and I'm singing all the backups. So I'm singing the Leave the Light On and the homes and all the chords, and she's singing the lead.
Did you have to do any vocal tuning?
I mean, I think just like minor, you know.
It's great. Whatever you did,
minor stuff,
great.
But yeah, but we recorded it until we got, you know, close enough that the vocal tuning was very minor. So
yeah. Congrats, guys! It's awesome. I think you're going to do great things with this song.
Thank you, Zion.
Thank
you.
Good. I hear a lot of songs, you know that. I hear a lot of songs. And so when I hear one that I'm like, that's great writing right there, it resonates with me, and I'll tell you. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do Emily. Are you here, Emily? All right, let's try hers out. This is I Will Rise.
the dust where you have knocked me down. I push up to my knees, I get up off the ground. Spitting out the ash where you have burned me down. I roll my shoulders back, I'm about to let it out. Born of the flame, fresh from the fight. All you can do is wonder. Born of the flame, unspeakable light. And when it rains, I bring thunder. Now we'll shaking out the pain, I'm ready to explode. Put my chin in the air, the seeds I know I've sown. Knocking down the doors that you have locked me out. I know the secret code, I'm on the battleground. Born of the flame, fresh from the fight. All you can do is wonder. Born of the flame, unspeakable light. When it rains, I bring thunder. Now we'll rise. Just you wait, I will rise. Oh, just you wait, I will rise. Oh, just you again.
Cool. It looks like Tony Serza is part of this project. Are Tony or Emily, are you guys on here at all? All right. So here are my thoughts on this. It's got a great hook, but I will rise, just you wait. I will rise, just you wait. Man, that's a great hook. And it's a great melody. It's just produced. It's got a lot of production issues, and it's okay. It's okay. This is a start. You're starting out with a great song. You have a monster song, and it's a lot to live up to. And Tony is a very good producer. He's working hard on getting better and better. And so I'm always impressed with how far he's come. And I love his dedication to this. He's going to be really good. I can tell. He's got a sensibility that's great. But there's some things that, Tony, if you're listening, I think you're the producer on this. Excuse me. There's some things that I think to look out for. Number one is her voice sounds over here and the instruments sound over here. They often call that the karaoke effect. It sounds like you're singing, you know, when someone sings in a bar or something, they're singing karaoke. All this production sounds awesome, but the voice doesn't fit in. It's because it wasn't produced together, right? And you're just layering a vocal on top of all this production. So it sounds very karaoke in that way, which is unfortunate because, and that might just because this might be the very first mix or something of it. That's totally fine. But you need to learn how to produce vocals. Producing vocals is an art, and it's hard. It's one of the things that most beginning producers avoid doing because they don't really know what they're doing. And so they keep avoiding it and getting really good at all these other things, and their vocal production suffers. And that's actually what's holding them back. If you can get your vocal production chops amazing, you can, how do I say this? It can cover a multitude of sins, because vocals are everything, and you've got a great voice, but her voice sounds tiny and timid, and this song is supposed to be big. This is almost like a Beyonce big, I will rise, you know, I'm going to get back, you can't knock me down. So one of the things is you can work with another producer that can show you some ropes, get you better, or just give it to them, say, you do it, and I will learn from how you do it. You've got an amazing voice here. I love how her voice sounds, it's a little melancholy sounding, and it works really well for this track, but it's not featuring her voice well at all. You're not framing her voice in a way that's really giving it, putting it to another level. So right off the bat, I would say focus in on production of her voice. And that means layers, that means stacks, that means harmonies, but before you do all that, get one good top line. You've got a great performance. I don't know how well it was recorded, but make sure your recording is solid, and then start layering a little bit of, you start putting it through maybe some saturation or a tape emulator, or a preamp, like a channel strip emulator, like an SSL or Neve console emulator, okay, to give it some warmth and some thickness. I would EQ it first. This is before EQ. And then you're going to pass it into, I would then cut off a lot of the low end of her voice, which already sounds like somebody did that. And then you move it into some compression, use some maybe parallel compression to make it go forward. An 1176 is an awesome compressor to do that. Their classic is still one of the, it's like from the 70s. I still use an emulator for that. Makes the vocal really come forward. You want to maybe give it some excitement, so use an exciter. It sounds like it's pretty in tune. You may need to tune some things, but if you don't, move forward. But after you get a really solid vocal take, and this is before you add any reverb or anything like that in there, but maybe a touch near the end, maybe a slap delay that's being sidechained in the back, something like that. But then you can add some stacks. So when she goes, I will rise, so now you've got fullness, you've got width, and you can put 2 or 3 of her singing the exact same part, and you stack them together in the background, and now you've got this full I will rise, and that would be really cool. There's a strings in this as well that sound fake, and they don't sound very good. It cheapens the whole thing. I would get rid of that. The drums sound awesome. I really like the drums. There's some kind of like plucks, or it sounds like mallets or something. They don't really fit the song, and it's right in here. I like that snare, but right here. That just doesn't quite fit. If you're looking for something interesting, keep experimenting. I like the idea of that. It just doesn't quite fit for me. This song has a lot of dynamics. I would definitely keep those dynamics. It's just the production. The production needs to just be more amazing. This is also a great song to add some distortion to a lot of elements. It'd make it more current, more in the mix. It'll make it more fresh. Otherwise, I think you have a great song and you've got a great vocalist here. It just needs to all be enhanced. It needs to be taken to another level. Awesome. All right, let's go to another one. That was I Will Rise. And Katie asked about doing that. Any replay link here? All right, so we've worked through that. Now let's jump over to this one, which is listening session starts now. Don't forget about the listening session. Here we go.
I think we're at Matt Mac.
Say again?
I think Matt Mac wanted his listened to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's check that out. So this is Rise. All right.
Funny how they think they know us. Sadly, they don't know us at all. No. They don't even dare to question. So instead we're taking it all. Rise. You can rise. Rise. Or fall. Rise. Make your choice. Rise. Look in my eyes. my daggers and knives. Leave your inhibitions behind. Yeah, we came here to start a fire. Our blood is boiling underwater. Rise, you can rise. Rise or fall. Rise, make your choice. Rise, look in my eyes. Rise, till they say enough. Rise.
Awesome. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
How are you, man?
Good.
You have some production chops, man.
This song is going to be the bane of my existence, I swear to God.
Tell us about it.
So this song came about, I mean, obviously because of the topic Rise. But I mean, a lot of you guys have known this past month has been kind of difficult for me. My mom's been in and out of the hospital with pancreatitis, and it kind of like started shutting down all of her organs, and it was like she was on the brink of death. And
holy shit,
I was actually not even going to do anything for this month at all, because I was flying back and forth to Maryland and LA, and by the time I got back, I only had like a week or whatever to get this thing done in order to submit it for feedback. And I kind of grabbed onto my perspective of life a little bit. I guess just realizing that you only have so long to live. So this is kind of like a message that speaks to me, and that, I don't know, I just don't want to waste that anymore. You know, I don't waste time worrying about things that don't matter. Yeah, that's what this is.
It's beautiful, man. I thank you for sharing this with us. That is incredible. I'm so sorry to hear what you're going through.
She's doing a lot better now. For all of you guys
Good.
who are really checking in on me, thank you so much. Yeah, she's doing better, but she's in and out of the hospital still. But yeah,
Gotcha.
nowhere near as bad. Yeah.
Well, Matt, thank you for sharing this. So this is amazing. You are such a talent. Did you sing and produce everything and write everything?
Mm-hmm.
All you, man.
Yep. In 10 days.
Oh my gosh. I love the creativity on here. I mean, it sounds like a guy that knows his production and is just playing. I mean, it's like the airwaves are your playground and you're just having fun. And you're making, but it has a good message and it's well written. And I love the words. Funny how they think they know us. Sadly, they don't know us at all. No, they don't even dare to question. So instead, we're taking it all. Oh my gosh, dude. That's solid, man. Rise.
Thank you.
Rise or fall. Rise, make your choice. Rise, look in my eyes. Yeah, amazing. So I have I think the writing is on point. I think I have a production. I want to throw something at you. Your production has a lot of elements going on, which is like ear candy, but it needs a break.
Yeah.
I think the chorus actually would be set up better by being stripped down. Just when you come to the rise, just rise, and then just something like bare bones, just a groove and a vocal, and then start adding in some really sweet, squeaks and whatever, portamento, whatever things you're doing there. But it's begging to take a break from the listener's ears. And I think it needs some low end in that as well, like almost like you're kind of dropping into this rise kind of thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
and then
really good idea.
Maybe later later on, keep your chorus with all that production. Do that as a separation so that it changes, it evolves into something else. So it's not always the same. But like, I just feel like that first chorus needs to just be set up to just say, this is the hook, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
And that's it, because the words are there. You've got a very simple, quick, melody. The melody's not complicated at all. You can get your head around it. I just want to be able to get my head around it sonically.
Yeah.
Because there's so much.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally get you. I actually made this song specifically without the bass in mind, because I kind of wanted to drive the energy up that way, and I wanted any bass that was going to be involved to be in the drums, and except for the third verse. The third verse is kind of this, just, it almost feels like it turns into a different song for me.
Oh, let me hear it.
Just begun until over. This war isn't over. No, this war has only just begun. Until they say enough is enough, will be enough for the ones who can't speak for themselves. Rise, you can rise. Rise or fall.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking was like, yeah, what you just said is actually perfect. Throwing some, I'm thinking like maybe some staccato basses inside of the choruses in the beginning to kind of give it some difference, I guess, kind of bring it into a lower place. I don't know. I like that idea a lot.
Let me challenge you with something. I want you, on that first chorus, I want you to strip it down to no more than 2 instruments in your vocals.
Mm-hmm. Including drums, or
yeah, including drums.
Okay.
I want you to go unbelievably simple and see what happens.
Okay.
You can always add more.
Yeah.
But see what you can do with just unbelievably simplicity. It'll make everything else sound even cooler, because it shows the listener that you can make something sound amazing stripped down.
Yeah.
And just rise. And it just has an amazing hook. You may not even need as many words either. Mm-hmm. In the chorus. You could just take some of that out and leave them for later on, and just have the word rise in there, and then just something like, I mean, think of all the songs, the EDM type songs that have that drop. They, all this production, and then it drops into this like animals, or just just something that. And I know this isn't an EDM type. I mean, you're not going for that, but
the same rules apply. I totally get it.
Yeah. And actually, that third verse, to me, that sounds like a bridge. That doesn't really even sound like a verse. I would just say that's a bridge. It's a great bridge, too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
I mean, it is so different. It's very different, and it almost sounds like the melody's a little different there as well. I mean, this is the first time I've heard it, so I can't remember exactly how the first melody went, but yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds so cool. I just want a release.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of a break.
A little bit of break. So tell us real quick about how you produce your vocals, because you have a very specific sound how you do it.
How do I produce my vocals? I don't really feel like I do anything super special. I use Slate Digital, one of those modeling mics that he has. And it's weird because I use really low input gain on my input channel, and then I kind of bring it up with an LA2A digitally. That way I have the fullest dynamic range possible. And then I don't even put anything on the regular chain other than the LA2A, and then I run all of my vocals to a bus that are going to be on the lead vocal or background vocals, so that they have their own specific bus. And then I put a multi-band compressor on it and bring out the frequencies that I like in whoever's voice I'm recording or mine. And then I subtract it. It's almost like I use the multi-band compressor to also be my EQ.
Okay.
Yeah. And then any effects that I have on there are kind of depending on what the song calls for. Mm-hmm. Nothing very specific. I like to rely on the vocal performance more so than than any kind of weird tricks that I'm going to do. Like there's some saturation on that, but other than that, there's just delay.
And what do you use for saturation?
This time I use, there's this program that Steven Slate has under his virtual mix rack called, what is it called? It's the New York. There's a New York saturator that he has under his virtual mix rack. I have the all-in-one bundle. If you guys get that, that's like $14.99 a month. And then I also stacked on that. There's a subtle one that the saturation from Steven Slate was subtle, and then I used FabFilter's Saturn on top of that for certain parts to automate for more. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds amazing. I think it's really, really cool. And your voice is incredible. To me, it's almost more rare to find a male voice that sounds really, really good. If for pop and rock, there's a lot of females that have kind of mastered that, and it's very rare for me to find a male that's like owning that genre. So great job, man.
Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. That means a lot, honestly.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm honored. Thanks for sharing your baby with us, and please send us another version. If you strip it down like that, I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
I'm really, really curious about it. Please send it to me.
All right, we'll do.
Sweet. All right. Let's go to another one. Let's see here. Did you guys like that? Was that not a BA song? Somebody suggested female vocals. Yeah, that could work. I don't think it needs it. I think it's amazing the way it is. His voice is so good. But yeah, that's also a suggestion. I mean, definitely, that's one way to do it, I guess. Sometimes you have to really change the key you're in to do a female vocal, and sometimes it takes away from the vibe if you've already kind of married everything into that key. All right. Yeah. Nita says, totally agree, Matt. I get a vocal performance. Yeah. Performance is everything. I would rather a great performance that was recorded kind of shitty and work with that than an incredibly recorded decent vocal.
I totally agree with that. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. It sells a song. There's something about the human voice that when you have a performer that can really own a song and really knows that genre, knows that part, knows those words, and can convey it in a way that it just sells the song, even if it's not the best recording. So I believe that as well. All right, so we got to yours, Katie. I see that you posted again. Little cheater, you.
Everybody posted again. We didn't know.
No, it's okay. That's okay. All right, let's go through here. We did Emily's. I don't think we did this one. Kimball's. Let's do this one. And we'll do Steven's next after that. This is so fun.
Tough, but it ain't gonna stick. Seems like a treble is low in the mix. Your light has gone out, something put out your fire. You're trying to get up and you're spinning your tires. Stop looking down at your shoes. Time to get up, have you heard the news? Get up, get out, get up, get out. Take some heat from my torch. You can ride, you can climb, you can rise, you can climb. Oh, 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 your feet, it's an uphill climb. If you're gonna make it there, you gotta put in the time. Make some noise, get it locked, grooving. Enjoy the ride, now get your feet moving. Stop looking down at your shoes. Time to get up, have you heard the news? Get up, get out, get up, get out. Take some heat from my torch. You can
Okay, this is Kimball. Are you here? All right, I'll just talk about it anyway. So, Kimball, are you here? Lucy, I see you unmuted yourself. I'm going to mute you unless you meant to say something. Anyway, let's talk about this for a second. So right off the bat, there's a chord progression that most of you guys probably recognize. It's the 1, 6, 4, 5. 1 major, 6 minor, 4 major, 5 major. And it's the same one that you hear everybody learn when they start piano, which is the dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da da, heart and soul. It's that chord progression. That doesn't mean it's wrong, but it to the listener's ear, when you use a chord progression without varying I mean, every chord progression is used a million times. This has been used in 1,000 different songs. But you want to, if you're going to use a chord progression that's the standard, you want to vary the way in which you play it. You might want to put a 2 in there, or a sustain in the 5th chord, or you know, a 4 over 5, or something like that. You want to look for, and I am no master at chord progression. There's students in this class that make me look silly in their presence when it comes to chord theory. But I know enough to just know that things you got to constantly look for other ways of changing how people are listening to that chord progression. So it sounds fresh, it sounds new. This sounds like chord, 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 chord. Look for inversions. So if you're doing it at a guitar, look for a different inversion. Look, if you're doing it on the piano, look for a different inversion. So right off the bat, I just want to point that out, that takes the song and makes it sound a little bit amateur. And I don't mean this in any disrespect. I love your art, but I want you to know that that's one of the elements that makes it sound like a beginner. Let's talk about the production. There's no low end in this. This is all just tinny, which means you're probably mixing in a room where you're hearing the low end really loud, and you're notching that out because it sounds really over booming to you. So then you get it to a level where you think it sounds good, and then when you submit it to everyone else, it sounds really tinny because your room and your mixing and recording environment is such that it's imbalanced. The tonal balance is not there. Does that make sense to you guys when I'm saying that? When I say tonal balance, okay, that's the mix between high and low and mid-high frequencies. All those frequencies, there needs to be a balance in how that is. We talked a lot about this on Wednesday during our office hours, and there's tools you can use for that. The other thing is the drums, the production. There's a lot of things about this song that sound like it's a beginner song, and that's okay. I'm glad that you're sharing this with us. There's no shame in any of this, but this is the beginning. This is the beginning of taking it further. When you listen to the song, listen to songs on the radio that are somewhat in this genre and compare the two and say, what are they doing that makes that so much more interesting? What are they adding to that? And it does sound like you're varying. You've got a lot of instrumentation things happening. That's good. The other thing is the writing. The writing of the verses. I just want to point out the meter. Let's listen to the meter.
Been tough, but it ain't gonna stick. Seems like a treble is low in the mix. Your light has gone out, something put out your fire. You're trying to get up and you're spinning your tires. Stop looking down.
So dun 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 dun. It kind of gets boring. So just that phrasing itself, look for other ways. If your beat is, instead of going dun dun dun, those are quarter notes that I just did. Bum 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 bum, put out the fire. Bum bum bum. Those are. It's so on the beat. It sounds dated. It sounds amateurish as a songwriter. So look for ways to get off the beat instead of dun dun dun. Look for dun 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 dun. Da da dun 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 dun. Da 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 dun 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 dun. I mean, I'm just varying. I'm scatting here, trying to make some things happen. But look for ways to get away from that exact melody of Heart and Soul, and look for ways to vary so that you're using offbeats, you're using sixteenths, you're using a dotted eighth note, a triplet in the syncopation of the words. It'll make it sound so much more interesting. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just get away from using quarter notes and eighth notes on every phrase. So those are some things about this. I think Take Some Heat From My Torch is a great idea. It's a little complicated though, that concept to convey that. It's clever, but I would take your work on this song, I'd put this aside, I'd start a new one and go for it again, because you're going to learn from what you just did, big time. Does anybody want to add any comments to this? Because this is a good learning song here. I'm not trying to pick on Kimball at all here. I'm proud of you for doing this, man. Norman? Oh, I think he just unmuted his mic accidentally. All right, so let's go to the next one. Stephen Cooper, Fly the Nest. Let's do this.
Wake up with new intents, gonna dust off the old cobwebs. There's nothing to fear, no. I hate being home. Watch as I break down the walls that I built, now free. There's a wild ride waiting for me. Watch as I walk on. There's a wild ride waiting for Gonna push on and reignite the fire started beady-eyed. Gonna look back with no regrets. I know that I've passed the hardest test, and I turn it up and I rock it out, and I like to see it come and tear me down. There's nothing to fear, no, but I hate leaving home. Watch as I break down the walls that I built, now I'm free. There's a wild ride waiting for me. Watch as I walk on the bridges I burn, now I'm free. There's a wild ride waiting for me. I've built, now I'm free. There's a wild ride waiting for me. Watch as I break down the walls that I built, now I'm free. There's a wild ride waiting for me.
Wow, this is pretty cool. Are you here? This was Stephen Cooper. Stephen Cooper, come on down. This is cool. I'm really loving this sound. Yeah, it sounds very much, somebody said it sounds like Goo Goo Dolls. Yeah, it says, or Coldplay a little bit. It reminded me, I love those guitars. Man, whoever put the guitars in there just knows. It just has a beautiful wash to it throughout the entire song. I think the writing is cool. I think it's begging for a little bit more vocals. I wish there was a little more stacks in the chorus, a little more, something that filled it up a little bit more as far as vocals, not guitars. You got plenty of guitars. And I also felt like the low end was, maybe this is a mastering decision, but it felt like there could have been a little more warmth, especially in the chorus. I was just like wanting that to fill up those low mids and low. It's more in the low end, so the sub frequencies. But it felt like it could have had that. It sounds like the song's probably done. The looks like you got some cool album cover art and stuff. I had nothing wrong with the song. I think it's beautiful. I think it's the kind of song that would totally get a placement opportunity. I mean, you're talking about wild and free and being free and alive. And I don't have the words in front of me, but it's called Fly the Nest. That's a pretty awesome title. And you obviously know this genre. And the vocals, man, the vocals are great. Yeah, Lucy Lee says this is a sexy vocal, very emotional. Absolutely, very, very good vocals. I just wish it stacked. I just wish we had some layers in the harmonies and stuff. But other than that, I loved it. Those are my notes. Does anybody have anything they want to say about this song? We don't hear many songs like this very often in this class.
I listened to that song about 4 times when it was posted yesterday. I love that song.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah.
Tell us why.
I just feel like it evokes a raw emotion. I feel like that's like, especially with music that comes out today, that it's few and far between. People are typically talking about something that yeah, it's relatable, but when you can feel it, that it means so much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's just one of those well-rounded songs that does that. Just does it for me.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Stephen. That was incredible. I think that's the last song we have on here on our list. And it is 106, so I do need to wrap this up. Does anybody have any final thoughts or final question they want to make? Mike?
Yeah, I listened to it yesterday. I think I listened 3 times, and it just killed me. I mean, I just thought, wow, this is like a radio hit right here.
Yeah.
This is ready to go. Because so many car radios and stuff really don't have that bottom end, or they're adding it in artificially. And I thought, yeah, it is missing the bottom end, but right at the moment my studio's down, I'm working on it, and so I'm just listening to it on an iPhone 8 or iPad 4.
Sure.
So I'm, it's not really there for me anyway, and so I'm just going, well, man, this song just kills. This is primo stuff.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. From what I'm listening to it on, and even on my cans through the i machines, it still seems like it's missing a little bit, even through a pair of 770s. But it's just a tremendous effort here. I think the guy, just kudos to him. It's whoever's doing this is just tremendous. It's really a professional product.
It is.
I think.
It really is.
Yeah.
Do you guys know him in the class? Stephen Cooper?
Talked to him a couple of times, but I don't actually know him.
Okay.
I just think this is the first time I've heard anything that he's done, and it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
So I have a question then.
Yeah.
Zion, if you like any of these songs, like like this one or whatever, is CTM still interested in using any of these? Is this just like, great job, go forth and
No, I'm hoping, if you're getting positive feedback from me, I'm hoping that you're going to submit it and say, if how do I say this? I should probably make it more clear. But like, for instance, the song that you submitted, I think it's amazing. I'm hoping you do submit that for one of the assignments. And if it doesn't fit an assignment, just send me an email and say, hey, you really like this. We made those changes. I'd like you to see if you can include it in your library, kind of thing. So definitely do that. Stephen, if you're listening to this, I mean, this is an incredible song. I think we would love to if it's one stop, I don't know if it is, but definitely reach out to us with this song and add it. These calls are more just about giving you guys feedback and just telling you our thoughts on it, so you have an idea of what goes on in our brains. But we definitely are always just constantly wanting to fill our library with great songs. And you guys are doing it. Y'all are writing great songs, so keep it up. If I specifically say, hey, it really Matt's walking his dog. It's hilarious with a Batman leash. If you guys are, if I give a specific feedback like, hey, this is good, but there's this thing here, that's the kind of feedback I would give you. Also, in like if you had submitted it, I would probably send you an email back saying, we really like this. This is amazing, but there's this one area that I think we really like you to consider changing. And if you do change it, send it back to us through this link, and we'll give you a different link. I'll send it back. So yeah, I guess the side benefit to doing these listening sessions is that I'm getting exposure, and the other people at CTM that might listen to this call, that, hey, these are some amazing songs. And every once in a while, I can't get a song out of my mind, and I will hunt you down because I'm like, that is just too good to pass up. Thank you guys for sharing your babies with us. It was a pleasure working with you. I've got to run. It's 1:10, and so good to see all of you guys. Mike, Mark, Matt, Lucy, Norman, Katie, Nita, Julie, Mary, Ron. It's good to see you guys. I will talk to you next week. Have a great weekend, everybody.